What if I told you that your brain does not show you reality, but instead it shows you a render? And sometimes the visual hardware completely fails. But the software refuses to admit it. This is called Anton's syndrome. A stroke destroys the visual cortex, the patient goes entirely blind. But the brain's rendering engine continues to hallucinate a perfect 3D environment. The patient will walk directly into a wall, utterly convinced the door was right there. When they hit the wall, they don't realize they're blind. They tell the doctor the room is just too dark. This is called confabulation. The brain's error checking module is offline, so it fabricates a reality to bridge the gap. They are trapped in a private offline server navigating a map that no longer matches the physical universe. In a simulation, this is a client-side desync. Your local headset is generating graphics without receiving data from the host. Your brain would rather lie to you forever than admit the hardware is broken. But what happens when the hardware works perfectly, but your familiarity files are completely deleted? Everyone knows déjà vu, the feeling that you have experienced a new moment before. But jamais vu is the exact opposite, and it is significantly more terrifying. You walk into your childhood home, where you look at your spouse's face, and suddenly, they are a completely different person. Your vision is perfect, you logically know where you are, but the feeling of familiarity is entirely gone. Familiarity is not a fact, it is a chemical tag your brain attaches to visual data. In a simulation framework, jamais vu is a failure to fetch metadata. The environment renders perfectly, but the system forgot to download the file that tells you it belongs to you. The most terrifying form of jamais vu happens when you look in the mirror. You see the face you wore your entire life, and you realize with absolute certainty that it is not you. But losing familiarity is nothing compared to losing the frame rate of reality itself. Motion is not continuous. Your eyes take static pictures and your brain stitches them together into fluid movement. But if the V5 region of your visual cortex is damaged, the stitching process completely fails. This is Akinetopsia. Patients with motion blindness cannot pour a cup of coffee because the liquid looks like a frozen block. People do not walk towards them. They simply teleport, appearing far away and then instantly terrifyingly close. They live in a world with a catastrophic frame rate drop, a severe hardware bottleneck. In a simulation, this is exactly what happens when the physics engine fails to sync with the rendering engine. The world does not stop happening, you just stop receiving the updates on time. But what happens if your brain decides to completely delete half of the universe? This is hemispatial neglect, usually caused by a massive stroke in the right parietal lobe. The patient's eyes work perfectly, their optical nerves are fully intact. But the brain stops processing any visual data arriving from the left side of their body. The left side of reality simply ceases to exist. If you ask them to draw a clock, they will cram all 12 numbers onto the right side of the circle. Men will only shave the right side of their face. Women will only apply makeup to the right side. If you stand on their left side and speak, they cannot hear you. If you pinch their left arm, they do not feel it. In a simulation, this is a sector rendering ban. The server simply refuses to spend processing power on a left coordinate plane. The left side of the universe is not dark. It just does not exist. But this glitch is the most terrifying because it does not break the world, it breaks you. Depersonalization disorder, the sudden horrifying realization that you're not the one driving your body. You feel like you have been pushed back 3 inches inside your own skull, watching a movie of someone else's life. Your body, it keeps walking, it keeps talking, it keeps doing its job. But you're no longer the one making the decision. The biological hardware has engaged in emergency override. Depersonalization is often triggered by extreme, inescapable trauma or severe anxiety. When brain's processor gets overwhelmed by stress data, it initiates a hard disconnect. It unplugs your conscious identity from the physical avatar to protect the core system from the fatal crash. You can logically understand that you love your family, but the chemical sensation of love is completely blocked by the firewall. Patients describe feeling like a complex machine, a meat suit executing pre-programmed routines while the pilot is asleep. And it often pairs with derealization, the sudden terrifying perception that the physical universe is completely artificial. Objects look two-dimensional, food tastes like ash, the sky looks like painted ceiling. In video game architecture, when the system runs out of memory, it drops the rendering resolution to save power. You are trapped behind an invisible wall of glass, able to see the world but permanently disconnected from touching it. All these glitches prove something that science has known for decades. Your mind and reality are not the same thing. True reality is too massive, too chaotic, and too data-heavy for human hardware to process. If your brain let all the raw data of the universe through the firewall, your consciousness would instantly shatter. So the brain compresses the file, it builds a user-friendly interface, a hallucination that we all agree to call the world. You have never directly touched reality. You have only ever experienced the inside of your own skull. And when that interface glitches, the illusion collapses, the engine stutters. Anton syndrome, Jamais, Akinetopsia, neglect, depersonalization. These are not just medical conditions, they are proof that your reality is fragile, a temporary software patch. And any single line of corrupted code can unplug you from the world in a fraction of a second. So the next time you look in the mirror or walk through your home or feel the sun on your skin, ask yourself, is the hardware actually working? Or has the system simply forgotten to show you the error screen? If you want to keep looking behind the firewall of reality, subscribe to Fudge here before the admins patch the glitches.